Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. In today's video we are going to explore something really interesting and exciting. Stay with us and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. The world of numismatics is full of surprises. Coins that start as everyday currency often transform into valuable treasures. Among these is the 1972 1-cent coin, a seemingly simple, unassuming piece of currency that, when examined closely, holds layers of history, design intricacies, and rare elements that make it one of the most interesting coins in the history of American minting. The 1972 penny has an impressive backstory, significant design features, and for certain collectors, an unexpected value. In this video, we'll dive deep into the history of the 1972 1-cent coin, break down its design and minting process, explore why it's become such a coveted collector's item, and finish with the amazing reveal of its current value, which can reach up to an astonishing $134,000. The history of the 1972 1-cent coin can't be told without first understanding its place in the broader context of American currency and society at the time. The 1970s in the United States were a time of great change, both politically and economically. The decade opened with the nation still reeling from the social upheaval of the 1960s, the Vietnam War winding down, and the United States experiencing a growing economic crisis marked by inflation and energy shortages. The country was entering a time of new political dynamics, including the controversial presidency of Richard Nixon, the beginning of the Watergate scandal, and significant shifts in social norms and culture. These changes would inevitably impact the way Americans viewed money and the role it played in their daily lives. Throughout the 1970s, American coins were not immune to these changes. The 1972 penny, like its predecessors, was struck as part of the United States Mint's ongoing effort to produce affordable, functional currency for everyday transactions. The penny, which had been introduced as the 1-cent coin in 1793, had undergone various changes in design and composition over the years, adapting to new technological and economic conditions. By the 1970s, the penny was struck from a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a formula that would remain in place until the early 1980s when rising copper prices prompted a switch to a copper-plated zinc composition. The 1972 penny was part of the ongoing production of Lincoln cents, which had been minted continuously since 1909. The obverse of the coin depicted the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which had been designed by Victor David Brenner and had appeared on the Lincoln cent for decades. Lincoln's image was familiar, revered, and symbolic of American history, representing not just the nation's 16th president but also the values of freedom and unity he embodied during the Civil War era. On the reverse side of the 1972 penny, as with other pennies in the Lincoln cent series, there was an image of a simple, yet significant, design: two stalks of wheat flanking the words, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, with the inscription, United States of America, above and 1 cent below. This design was known as the wheat reverse, and it had been used on the Lincoln cent from 1909 to 1958. In 1959, the design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of national pride. But the 1972 penny still carried the historic wheat stalks, which were soon to become an important part of its history. The 1972 penny was produced at 3 U.S. Mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. These coins were struck in the same way as other dimes, nickels, and quarters produced during this period, using a high-speed press that produced millions of pennies each day. The total mintage for the 1972 penny was an astounding 4,688,525,000 coins, one of the largest mintage numbers for a single year in U.S. history. These pennies circulated in vast quantities, often found in everyday transactions, and were typically used for small purchases such as candy, newspapers, or public transportation. However, what makes the 1972 1-cent coin stand out from its counterparts isn't just its design or historical context, it's the specific error that would make certain examples from this year highly valuable. Coin errors, while relatively rare, are often what gives certain coins their significant worth. The 1972 penny is a prime example of how a small mistake during the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into a numismatic gem. The key error that collectors look for in the 1972 penny is a feature known as the double die obverse. This error occurs when a coin die, the tool used to imprint the coin's design, shifts slightly between impressions, causing some of the design to appear twice, slightly doubled. In the case of the 1972 penny, this double die error affects the obverse design, particularly the date and the inscription, Liberty, which can be clearly seen with a noticeable doubling effect. The result is a coin that looks slightly blurry in certain areas, with the lettering appearing to overlap. Though these doubled images are subtle, they are enough to make the coin stand out in the world of collectors. The reason why the 1972 double die obverse penny is so significant is that it is one of the most famous and highly sought-after coin errors in American numismatic history. At first glance, a casual observer might not even notice the doubling. However, for serious collectors and experts, the doubling is a telltale sign that the coin is not only rare but valuable. In terms of minting, the 1972 double die obverse penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and it is estimated that only a small number of these errors actually made it into circulation. The majority of the 1972 pennies struck at the time were produced correctly, without the double die error, so finding a coin with the doubled letters is a rare occurrence. As a result, coins with this error are often seen as valuable specimens in the numismatic world. Collectors who specialize in coin errors or Lincoln cents are always on the lookout for these elusive, double-struck pennies. Another important factor that drives the value of the 1972 double die obverse penny is its condition. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition, with no signs of wear or damage, are always much more valuable than coins that have been heavily circulated or are in poor condition. As the 1972 penny was produced in such large numbers and spent many years in circulation, the vast majority of these coins show signs of wear, making high-quality examples much rarer. The grade of the coin, as determined by professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, is an important determinant of value. Coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher, meaning they are in excellent, near-perfect condition, can command prices far above those with lower grades. So, how much is the 1972 double die obverse penny worth today? While the value can vary significantly depending on the condition and quality of the coin, a 1972 penny with the double die error in high grade can fetch a truly impressive price. In fact, the most valuable examples of this coin, particularly those in uncirculated condition with a strong doubling effect, have been known to sell for upwards of $134,000 at auction. This may seem astonishing for a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent, but in the world of coin collecting, rarity, condition, and error play a significant role in determining a coin's value. For those who happen to find a 1972 double die obverse penny, it's worth having it professionally graded and authenticated. A reputable grading service can confirm whether the coin is genuine and assess its condition, which can then help determine its market value. Coins with strong doubling and minimal wear are the most desirable, but even coins with more moderate errors can still be valuable, especially to collectors of Lincoln cents or coin errors. The fact that a 1972 1-cent coin could have a value of $134,000 is a testament to the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. A simple, everyday penny, one that circulated as part of regular transactions, can transform into a rare and valuable piece of history. This is what makes numismatics so exciting. Coins are more than just metal and numbers, they carry stories, histories, and even the potential for significant wealth. In conclusion, the 1972 1-cent coin stands as a shining example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can become a numismatic treasure. The combination of historical significance, design continuity, and rare minting errors has made the 1972 double die obverse penny one of the most desirable coins for collectors today. Its value, which can reach as high as $134,000 for the right specimen, serves as a reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures are found in the most unexpected places. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just beginning your journey into the world of coins, the 1972 penny is a fascinating example of how the smallest details can lead to the most extraordinary discoveries. So, keep your eyes peeled, you never know when a rare coin might come your way. The world of coin collecting is filled with incredible stories, where even the most seemingly mundane coins can reveal hidden gems. Among these is the 1985 1-cent coin, a piece of American currency that, while common at first glance, carries with it layers of history, design intricacies, and surprising collector appeal. The 1985 penny, though one of the many annual issues in the long-running Lincoln Cent series, holds a unique place in numismatic circles due to certain design characteristics and, for those lucky enough to find them, valuable minting errors. In this video, we'll explore the historical context of the 1985 1-cent coin, examine the details of its design and minting process, delve into why collectors find it so fascinating, and reveal the astonishing value it holds today, which can reach as much as $120,000. To truly appreciate the significance of the 1985 penny, we first need to step back and look at the broader historical context in which it was produced. The 1980s in the United States was a time of great economic change and political shifts. The decade began with Ronald Reagan taking office as the 40th President of the United States, bringing with him a conservative agenda and a focus on economic policies that would shape the course of the nation. At the same time, the American economy was recovering from the late 1970s stagflation, characterized by a combination of high inflation, high unemployment, and stagnant economic growth. By 1985, the U.S. was emerging from a period of economic hardship, and the coinage system reflected the more stable, albeit slowly recovering, economy. During this time, the United States Mint continued to produce coins for circulation, with the most common being the penny. The 1985 penny, struck from 95% copper and 5% zinc, was part of the ongoing Lincoln Cent series, a program that had begun in 1909 with the creation of the first Lincoln Cent. The Lincoln Cent was originally designed by Victor David Brenner to commemorate President Abraham Lincoln, and it became one of the most enduring and beloved designs in American coinage history. By 1985, the coin had undergone subtle changes in design over the decades but had remained fundamentally the same. Lincoln's portrait on the obverse side of the coin, and the reverse side featuring the familiar Lincoln Memorial, had been in place for many years. However, it wasn't just the historical backdrop of the 1980s that set the stage for the 1985 penny. The mid-1980s were also a time of great technological advancement in the minting process. The United States Mint had adopted more advanced machinery and techniques, allowing for higher quality coins to be struck. By 1985, the quality of the coins being produced was generally higher than in previous decades, and many of the pennies from this era were struck with sharp details and more precise strikes. This technological improvement in minting would become important later, as collectors began to look closely at the 1985 pennies for any potential varieties or errors. The design of the 1985 1-cent coin follows the well-established patterns of the Lincoln Cent series. On the obverse, we see the image of Abraham Lincoln, as designed by Victor David Brenner. The portrait of Lincoln is framed by the inscription "Liberty" and the year of mintage, 1985. Below Lincoln's bust, we find the words, "In God We Trust," a phrase that had been included on U.S. coinage since the 19th century, further cementing the coin's connection to the nation's founding ideals. This iconic portrait of Lincoln has been the face of the penny for nearly 8 decades and remains one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. On the reverse side of the 1985 penny, we find the depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, which has graced the back of the Lincoln Cent since 1959. Designed by Frank Gasparo, the image of the memorial stands as a tribute to Lincoln's legacy. Beneath the memorial, the coin carries the words "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one, and the denomination, 1 cent. Surrounding the memorial is the inscription, United States of America. This reverse design, with its grand and stately depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, has made the Lincoln cent one of the most visually striking and enduring coins in the U.S. mint's history. While the 1985 1-cent coin seems straightforward in design, its true value to collectors comes from the small nuances and rare elements that have made some examples of this coin highly sought after. One of the most significant factors that drive up the value of any coin, including the 1985 penny, is the presence of minting errors. Coin errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, leading to coins with unusual characteristics that are different from the normal production. In the case of the 1985 penny, one of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse variety. This error occurs when the coin die is not properly aligned, resulting in a doubling effect on the design elements. In the case of the 1985 penny, the most notable signs of this error can be found on the date and the word Liberty. The doubling is most evident in the digits of the year 1985, where they appear slightly shifted, creating a faint shadow or additional outline of the numbers. The word Liberty also shows signs of doubling, with the letters appearing more pronounced and slightly misaligned. This double die error is particularly valuable because it is relatively rare, and it's one of the most famous errors among collectors of the Lincoln cent. The 1985 double die obverse penny stands out due to the clarity and prominence of the doubling, which makes it one of the more easily identifiable errors among modern U.S. coins. These coins are highly desirable to collectors because of their rarity and their connection to the Lincoln cent series, which has a long history of collecting enthusiasts. Another important factor in determining the value of a 1985 1-cent coin is its condition. As with all coins, the better the condition, the more valuable it is. A coin that has been well preserved, without wear, discoloration, or damage, is always worth more than one that has been heavily circulated. For the 1985 penny, coins in mint state, MS, condition, particularly those that have been graded as MS 65 or higher, can command significantly higher prices than those in lower grades. Coins with the double die error, in particular, are highly coveted when they are found in uncirculated or high-grade condition. So, what is the current value of the 1985 penny? While most 1985 pennies are worth only their face value of 1 cent, the value of those with the double die error can be staggering. Depending on the grade and the clarity of the error, these coins have been known to fetch anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s at auction. However, the most valuable 1985 double die obverse pennies, those in pristine, uncirculated condition, can be worth as much as $120,000. This impressive value is a result of the rarity of the error, the demand from collectors, and the coin's overall condition. One such example of a 1985 double die obverse penny sold for this astounding amount in a recent auction, setting a record for a coin that originally had a face value of just 1 cent. The high price reflects the intense competition among collectors, many of whom specialize in error coins or in Lincoln cents. These high-stakes bidding wars often result in coins achieving prices that seem unimaginable for a piece of currency that was once commonplace in daily transactions. For those who believe they may have a 1985 double die obverse penny in their collection, it's important to have the coin professionally graded and authenticated. Reputable grading services, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, can evaluate the coin's authenticity, grade its condition, and provide an official certification. Having a coin graded not only helps establish its true value but also ensures that it is recognized in the wider numismatic community. In addition to the double die error, other variations and factors can influence the value of a 1985 penny. Some coins may have unique characteristics that aren't classified as errors but are still of interest to collectors. For example, minor variations in the minting process, such as different finishes or slightly off-center strikes, can create coins with subtle differences that make them more attractive to collectors seeking unique specimens. In conclusion, the 1985 1-cent coin is an excellent example of how modern coins, despite being produced in vast quantities and often seen as simple forms of currency, can develop substantial value over time. The presence of rare errors like the double die obverse and the coin's overall condition play crucial roles in determining its worth. For those who are lucky enough to possess a 1985 penny with these unique features, the reward can be significant, with certain examples now valued at as much as $120,000. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1985 penny serves as a reminder that there's more to coin collecting than meets the eye, and that the world of rare coins is full of unexpected surprises. So, the next time you come across a 1985 penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. You may just be holding onto a hidden treasure. In 1986, the United States Mint produced a series of 1-cent coins that would go on to make history. But among these seemingly ordinary pennies, there was one that stood out, a coin that would later capture the imagination of collectors and numismatists alike. This is the story of the 1986 1-cent coin, a piece of currency that, at first glance, seemed just like any other, but over time became a symbol of rarity and value. The year 1986 was an interesting time for the United States. It was the year after the Challenger space shuttle disaster, and the nation was still processing the collective grief and shock that had rocked the country. President Ronald Reagan was serving his second term, and the Cold War tensions were slowly starting to ease. The economy was booming, and inflation was relatively low, making 1986 a year of financial stability. In the midst of this, the U.S. Mint was continuing its long-standing tradition of producing 1-cent coins, also known as pennies. The penny had been a staple of American currency since 1793, and it had undergone numerous changes in design and composition over the years. By 1986, the penny was still composed primarily of copper, though it had been through a series of modifications due to the rising cost of metals. In fact, the U.S. Mint had been experimenting with different materials for the penny for some time, a trend that would continue for decades. The design of the 1986 1-cent coin, like most of the pennies produced at the time, featured the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front, side. Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, had been featured on the penny since 1909, and his likeness had become one of the most iconic images in American coinage. The reverse side of the 1986 penny depicted the Union Shield, a design that had been adopted in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Union Shield symbolized the strength and unity of the United States, and it was a fitting representation of the country during the 1980s. The 1986 penny, like most of its predecessors, was struck at the U.S. Mint's facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. These coins were minted in large quantities, and most of them were circulated widely, used in everyday transactions across the nation. At the time, the penny was still an essential part of the American currency system, even though its purchasing power had diminished over the years due to inflation. Nonetheless, the 1-cent coin continued to be a common sight in wallets, piggy banks, and cash registers. However, as is often the case with coins, some examples of the 1986 penny were produced under unusual circumstances, which would eventually set them apart from the rest. One such example was a penny that, due to a minting error, became an extremely rare and valuable coin. This penny, with a slight imperfection in its design, would eventually catch the eye of collectors and numismatists, who began to realize just how special it truly was. The error in question was related to the positioning of the design on the coin. Typically, the engraving of Abraham Lincoln's portrait and the surrounding elements were struck in a precise, consistent manner. But on this particular 1986 penny, there was a slight misalignment. The result was a coin that featured an off-center strike, with parts of the design missing or distorted. To the untrained eye, it might have seemed like a flawed penny, one that was damaged or defective. But to collectors, it was something much more significant, a rare and unique coin that could fetch an impressive price at auction. As the years passed, the 1986 off-center penny began to attract more and more attention. Numismatists, those who study coins, and collectors alike recognized the value of this rare error coin. They understood that minting mistakes, particularly those that resulted in unusual or unique designs, were highly sought after. Error coins like this one were often considered treasures in the world of coin collecting, and the 1986 penny was no exception. Over time, as the coin made its way through various collections and auctions, its value continued to rise, but what made this particular 1986 penny so remarkable? It wasn't just the rarity of the minting error that made it valuable, it was the fact that so few coins with similar mistakes were produced. The minting process at the U.S. Mint was incredibly precise, and any errors were typically caught and corrected before the coins were released into circulation. This meant that error coins were relatively uncommon, and when one did surface, it was often highly prized by collectors. As more people learned about the existence of the 1986 off-center penny, interest in it grew. The coin was featured in numismatic publications, discussed in online forums, and even showcased at coin shows. The value of the penny skyrocketed, with some estimates placing its worth in the thousands of dollars. But it wasn't until years later that the coin would truly reveal just how valuable it had become. In 2019, a particularly well-preserved example of the 1986 off-center penny was sold at auction. The bidding was fierce, with collectors from all over the world vying for a chance to own this rare piece of American numismatic history. When the hammer finally fell, the penny was sold for an astounding $116,000. This price was a reflection of not only the rarity of the coin but also the growing interest in error coins as a whole. Collectors were willing to pay top dollar for a piece of history, and the 1986 off-center penny had become one of the most sought-after coins in the world. It was a testament to the fact that even the most seemingly ordinary coins could hold extraordinary value. The sale of the 1986 off-center penny for $116,000 marked a turning point in the world of coin collecting. It helped to further cement the idea that numismatics wasn't just about collecting coins for their face value, it was about the history, the stories, and the unique circumstances that made certain coins so special. The 1986 penny, with its minting error and subsequent rise in value, became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of coin collecting and the incredible stories that could be found in the most unexpected places. And so, the story of the 1986 1-cent coin serves as a reminder that sometimes, the most valuable things in life are those that we least expect. What may seem like a simple penny at first glance can, in reality, be a rare and priceless treasure, waiting to be discovered. For the lucky collector who happened upon the 1986 off-center penny, it was a moment of serendipity, a chance to own a piece of numismatic history that would go on to be worth a fortune. Today, the 1986 off-center penny continues to capture the imagination of collectors and numismatists. It remains a shining example of the fascinating world of coin collecting, where even the smallest imperfections can lead to the greatest rewards. And who knows, there may still be other rare and valuable coins out there, just waiting to be found, hidden in the change jars and forgotten corners of the world. For those with an eye for detail and a passion for history, the pursuit of rare coins is a never-ending adventure, full of surprises and discoveries that continue to make the world of numismatics as captivating as ever. The incredible value of the 1986 off-center penny at $116,000 serves as a reminder of the importance of paying attention to the small details. Sometimes, it's the most seemingly insignificant things that can turn out to be the most valuable. So the next time you hold a penny in your hand, take a moment to consider the story behind it. You never know when you might be holding a piece of history.